the One Piece worldwide popularity poll. I've heard so many people denounce this list, say, oh no, the placement that certain characters have, it makes no sense, it's impossible, blah blah blah, left and right. But let's go over the way this list was even calculated. Japanese citizens who mail in their vote get extra points towards those characters. You could vote every single day for your favorite character? Come on. Like, let's be honest. If certain characters were so massively popular, then people would group up together just as well to vote them higher. Like, let's not be petty about this. And honestly, kudos to the Japanese people who organized this whole event because they, somewhere in their mind, thought, hey, let's just make it so that you can vote multiple times so nobody can really argue this fact. Because making it just a one and done kind of situation really kind of leaves it open to someone messing around with the voting process. Something was bound to happen, and in a situation where people were willing to get entire groups of people to just spam vote a certain character, I feel like that speaks to the popularity of that character. Not to mention, this was a vote out of over 1,000 characters. Why would you be complaining over the top 100? 100 out of 1,000? That is 10% of characters. This is 10% of the characters. That's popular. Your top 10%? Like, let's be real. Like, the One Piece popularity poll, usually it's just the top 1% of all these characters. Come on. It's absolute insanity to be so hell bent on complaining about the placement of a lot of these characters. But I actually just wanted to look over the list and be like, yeah, some of these characters kind of deserve it. And I will kind of argue that maybe some of the characters, I'm just surprised that they're this popular to some degree to someone out there. Like, well, we have Shushu, who I'm not surprised is popular. Everyone loves a good doggo. He is best puppy. He is goodest dog. Yes, please. What I am surprised by is Charlotte Cracker at 99. Honestly, despite the fight that he had with Luffy, after his defeat, he just kind of disappeared from the series. But it was a decent enough fight, and he posed a good challenge to Luffy, so good on him for actually having a bit of popularity. Bartholomew Kuma, yeah, of course he's popular. Panda Man, even if it's just a joke, people love to find Panda Man. Kawamatsu, a really cool kappa. Parasparrow, oddly enough, but he's been pushed forward plenty of times by Oda that I'm not surprised he has as lovers. Now, Vista, I have never really been that deep of a fan of Vista. And for him to be 94, interesting. Good on you, man. I'm glad someone out there likes him. Zeph, man, I feel like the love for Zeph especially came because of Whole Cake Island and the love that Sanji put towards Zeph. That's what's keeping him so high in the ranking at 93. Next is Kinemon at 92. Now, I will admit I would have thought Kinemon would have been just a smidge higher. I'm not surprised. Let's be real, ever since we got to Wano, Kinemon really hasn't been that much of an impact on the series outside of when he finally got around to just taking on Kaido. But, if it was at the height of them challenging Kaido and actually damaging him, I would have expected them to be much higher. But where they're at now, where the story is, not really surprised. Now, 91, Caesar Clown. Weirdly enough, I'm not surprised by that. People love Caesar Clown. He is weirdly popular for a lot of characters, which takes me off guard because it's just like, yes, the guy who drugged children? Some of you people are kind of sus. And above him, Charlotte Mount D'Or. Wow, I'm very surprised. Apparently, Charlotte Mount D'Or has a surprisingly large following somewhere. Very fascinating. And at 89, the Kung Fu Dugong. Man, these cute little guys. People really do love the Kung Fu Dugong. They're just fun. And at 88, Wiper of all characters. Man, I'm surprised people still dig Wiper. He hasn't solidly shown up in the series in a good long time outside of cover pages. Now, what I'm not surprised is Marguerite at number 87. People really do love Margaret. A lot of people were kind of hoping that she would end up joining the Straw Hat crew at one time as a lookout of all things, but much like a lot of other characters got passed by, she didn't really quite cut the mustard. At 86 is Charlotte Lin Lin, Big Mom, who is probably the least popular of the Yonko, but at the same time, I'm not surprised by that. Honestly, if you've listened to anyone talk about Big Mom, some people just aren't really digging Big Mom to an extreme degree. They like Big Mom, but just not that much. And above her, Jewelry Bonnie. Honestly, when it comes to Jewelry Bonnie, though, a lot of her popularity comes from the fact that nobody really knows what the deal is with her. What's her story? Where is she going? Where is she coming from? When is she going to appear again? What's her connection to Bartholomew Kuma? There's a huge list of questions going on here. And I feel like once we finally flesh out Jewelry Bonnie and Bartholomew Kuma, their numbers will go up. And above her is Geen, however you pronounce his name. Man, Geen just keeps coasting on that question of when is he gonna appear again? What happened to him? Did he make it into the grand line? It's the speculation that drives people forward. There's any list of things that could have happened to him that we just don't know, and a lot of people are really hoping and pulling for him to reappear. But at this point in the series, I'm not quite sure. Now at number 83 we have Denjiro, aka Kyoshiro, who is just cool. Like, let's be real, he's just kind of cool. He had a pretty badass introduction. He's a pretty good swordsman, was able to go toe to toe with Zoro. Like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, Kinemon, but yeah, people just dig Denjiro a little bit more than you. And above him, Basil Hawkins, who is actually kind of where I would expect him to be. He's cool, he has cool powers, he's a calm and collected kind of dude. Not overly popular, but not at the bottom by any means. There are. I think he's actually, weirdly enough, one of the lowest ranking of the supernovas. So that's kind of something. I think was no, Rouge is higher. Yeah, he's probably the least like Supernova, but honestly, we just haven't gotten much out of him because he's just kind of that. Well, he's a blank kind of character. Not really much going on with him emotional wise. And then you get Belmare, which it's Belmare. Come on, it's Belmare. Of course, people still love her characters. And above her is Big News Morgans. Up there, especially courtesy of Rogers Base, who really pulled for Big News Morgans. But he's also a very cool character design. Above him is Emperor Ovunkov. Eva, yes. Just a fun character. Let's be real, just a fun character, and really came in clutch for Luffy in a lot of ways. Or Lumbus, who I'm actually surprised he's that popular, but he's the least popular out of all the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. Actually, is he? I don't remember seeing Leo on this list, so there might be a few others who are lower than him, but he has a decent enough placement. I'm surprised he even made it onto the top 100, let's be real. But hey, good on your Olympus. And then Kaku, yes, I love Kaku. Glad to see him in the top 100. And also Monet, the harpy. I was really pulling for her to actually be a crewmate back in the day. And a lot of people were, honestly. She had this weird fan base, and it was a shame when she died. But a fun character design nonetheless. And Karoo, yes, yes, people still love Karoo. He's a fun little guy. Gecko Moria. Honestly, Gecko Moria, not the most popular character, but he still has some popularity. Then 73 Cavendish slash Hakuba, still pretty high up there, not the worst off character. Meshed in with Senor Pink at 72. Man, that backstory, ugh, gets me every time. What such sadness. Yes, he's gonna be in the top 100 for a good long time. Now, what really caught me off guard was Namuel, or however you pronounce him, the fishman from Whitebeard's forces. Like, dude, I'm surprised he has so many fans. Just fascinating. That is deeply fascinating to find out, because we don't really know much about the character. That's about it. And at 70 is Urouge. I feel like the knowing that he went toe to toe with one of the Sweet Commanders and managed to take him down a peg really boosted his popularity, if nothing else. Then at number 69, Noise. Polly, yeah, people loved Polly. Like, I don't know what it was about Polly back in the day, but Polly was just popular as all get out, and that popularity still is around. And at number 68 is Rebecca. A lot of people were pulling for her to be a little bit cooler and stronger than she actually was, but still nonetheless a sweet character. Next is Dr. Heroluck. It's hero luck. Chopper's backstory was so tragic, and despite the fact that he was kind of a terrible person in a lot of ways, just read the manga. He kind of terrible, but good intentions and a nice enough guy. What shocked me was number 66, Rockstar. What? Who is this guy? He only appeared once and he was treated kind of like a scrub, but he had a bit of a higher bounty than Luffy at the time, so I guess people are really coasting on what he could possibly do. And considering number 65 being Kaido, oof. Let me tell you something. Kaido, it's not so much that he's not popular. It's just the fact that we're really looking forward to Luffy kicking his ass at some point. But there's only so much to Kaido's personality. Honestly, it's his dragon form that sells him the most. Like, regular old Kaido is fun, but dragon form Kaido is the shit. And number 64 is Beppo. He's cute. That's about it. Beppo is cute. And number 63 is the Thousand Sunny. Like, dude, people love the Thousand Sunny. It's an awesome ship. That Kuda burst and all of the docking systems and all that good stuff. Man, love that Thousand Sunny. Monkey D. Dragon. Yes, yes, yes. A lot of people just waiting to know what his story is. I can't wait to find out. And then we have Pedro. Man, I was caught up in it. I was wondering if Pedro would actually join or if it would be Carrot. Because Pedro really gelled with the crew. He was a nice guy, pretty cool, had a history in terms of Totland and being a pirate himself. But, once you knew he only had so much more time left to live, it was just like, yeah, Pedro's days were numbered. And he ran that clock down pretty fast after a while. Gaimon. Apparently, a lot of people in Japan love Gaimon. But, he always kind of pulls through. People always question about Gaimon. He had a brief appearance, but it was a nice appearance nonetheless, so good to see the little guy here. Next is Borsiliano or Kizaru. He's just cool. The light-based powers, the techniques he whipped out, how strong he is, of course. But above him is the lovely Koala. Man, I remember back when she was first introduced in Jinbei's flashback, I kept wondering if she was gonna come back and what capacity. Was she drawing the Straw Hats? What would be her role in the story going forward? And to find out she ended up not only being a revolutionary, but a friend of our boy Sabo? Nice. Koala is aces in my book. And up next is Ben Beckman. Honestly, it's just the coolness factor. We are really waiting to find out what the deal is with Ben Beckman. And considering that the likes of I don't think Yasop or even Lucky Roo are on this list, so he's just really that popular. And next up is 56 Ulti. She's just cool. She just has a fun personality. Despite what she did to Tama, she just has a really fun personality. And up next is Killer. And he's just cool. He has cool abilities, cool techniques. He's all together a pretty strong fighter. He's just a cool guy. 54 is Otama. And come on, she's just cute. She's a bundle of cuteness. She's been featured in TV ads and stuff like that. People really love the cuteness of Tama. Like, Tama ended up being this shining beacon of cuteness in this series. People love them some Tama. Next, you have Sakazuki, aka Akainu. And of course, like, come on, he's one of the better antagonists of this series. But above him is Isho, aka Fujitora, who I feel takes that spot away from Sakazuki because he's just such a nice guy and he's really cool, but also really powerful. Number 51 ends up being Pell, oddly enough, and all things considered, I'm surprised so many people really care for Pell that deeply. He's a pretty cool guy nonetheless, but man, people really pulling for Pell. Number 50 and cracking the top 50 is Shirahoshi, who, man, Shirahoshi, a lot of people ended up liking Shirahoshi. A crybaby, but we like to see her strength when it truly shines through. A precious gift from the gods, Poseidon. And up next is another princess, Kazuki Hiyori, aka Komurasaki. And I like the fact that they made sure to make sure all of you know, yes, it was Komurasaki, and she is Kazuki Hiyori. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's who this character is. And honestly, with her backstory and how cute she is, honestly, I don't think Momonosuke is too high up on this list. So she's the most popular out of Odin's children. Mostly because Momo's kind of a little shit. Next up is Izo, and above him Kikunojo or Kiku. Ah, brother and sister together again. I feel like that was a campaign. These two cannot be separated again. It's taken so long for them finally be included. But Izo was always one of the most popular of Whitebeard's commanders, and with the backstory of Kikunojo, like, I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. I'm all about Kikunojo's popularity. Good on ya. Next up is the dastardly Marshall D. Teach, Blackbeard. One of the most popular midway antagonists. He's not the most unpopular, but he's popular enough for an antagonist. But above him is Charlotte Pudding, who got a lot of popularity just because of her crush on Sanji. Will she ever get back with her boo? Only time will tell. Above her is Monkey D. Garp, the grandfather of our protagonist, with his fist of love. Garp is just such a fun mainstay of the series. Of course he's popular, but above him is Rob Lucci, who unfortunately has taken a lot of hits to his popularity just because he hasn't really been around that much. You know, when he was introduced, he was one of the best antagonists, but because he just hasn't really had a lot of spotlight in a good long time, he's kind of being forgotten at this point. Up next is Kobe. Yeah, we got a whole bunch of these Marine guys all back to back. But Kobe is up next at 42, and of course, he hasn't been in the series a lot, but people love Kobe. He was one of the first characters we were introduced to, mostly if you've watched the anime. So, man, we've traveled a long way with Kobe too, and I love his story. But above him, oddly enough, is X-Drake. I feel like a lot of that came from because we know how X-Drake has struggled, and he's just a very cool character. Done a lot of stuff, not to mention his dinosaur form is wicked sweet. But above him is Bartolomeo! Bartolomeo! Oh, Luffy fanboy? Come on. You know you love Bartolomeo. You love Barty boy. He's fun, he's crass, he's dastardly, but he's always a good time. But more popular than him is Vinsmoke Reiju. Just 'cause she's so beautiful and she's so nice to Sanji. Come on. The sweetness that is the poison pink cannot be denied. But denied it is, only by Dashigi, who I'm actually surprised is actually so high up on the list. It's a shame Dashigi never really gets to shine as best as she could, but she shines nonetheless. But above her is Whoop Slap. And a lot of that comes from Grand Line reviews and his campaigning for Whoop Slap since he was there from the beginning. They really wanted to promote him forward. But let's be real, it makes sense, and it shows how high you can get when you get a group together. But you can only get so high. Genuine popularity is actually going to trump out drummed up popularity time and time again. If 37 is the best you can do, you're only so good. But above him is Kuzan, aka Aokiji, and that's not to be understated. Like, seriously, Kuzan is popular. He's a cool dude, pun fully intended. Above him is no shock NL. NL, despite the fact that he has time and time again not been featured in this series, has just been such a popular mainstay of this series, and I think he will continue to be so until he appears again, where his popularity will only probably grow. But above him is Captain Buggy Sencho. It's Buggy the Clown Star, and it's just Buggy. Come on, he's fun, he's cool, he's goofy, and he always manages to fail upward. Above him is Silver's Rayleigh. Come on. Luffy's tutor, his teacher, let's be real. Silver's really helped move a lot of the story forward, and people love him for it. But what people love more is the Going Merry. Oh, forever in our hearts, the love that people have for the Going Merry will never die. If you have seen the end of the Going Merry, she will forever be in your hearts. But above her is Edward Newgate, aka Whitebeard, the great and powerful. His death, man, a man's death. He was the man people called Pops, and there was a reason for it. Damn it. He was an awesome guy, and I'm not surprised to see him so high up. Next up is Dracul Mihawk, and a lot of people complained on his placement, but I'm like, come on guys, get real. It's nothing but all stars after this point. Come on, like seriously, the top 50 just makes sense to me. And Dracul Mihawk, despite the fact that we rarely ever see Mihawk do anything, his placement at 30 seems about right. And what also seems right, Gold Roger, or Goldie Roger, being at 29. Come on, we just had his flashback. Yes. Come on, people love them some Roger, but there are other characters who are actually involved in the story who are doing something. And what came to a shock to a lot of people was 28 Frankie, who is the least liked of the Straw Hats, but come on, still, he's pretty high up there still, ranked before Gold Roger. Come on, guys. It's fine, it's fine. I love Frankie, but I do feel that his hairstyle and in his redesign really gave him a few hits and popularity, and he's never been able to recover from that. But above him is Smoker. People love Smoker. He's a fun character. But, when he started to take all those L's on Punk Hazard, it was just kind of like, well, a lot of that love kind of drained out because he just didn't win as much as he used to. He used to be a much more intimidating figure, but nowadays, not so much. But above him is Soul King Brook, who another one of my favorite characters. I love Brook. I love Brook to death. But, seeing him so low, mixed, but also considering a lot of the characters who got ahead of him, I'm honestly not surprised. With number 25, Perona. Perona has been shockingly popular ever since her introduction. And I mean that. Ever since she was introduced, she has been a popular character. I don't know if it's because of her gothic Lolita style or her personality, but she has continued to be a shockingly popular character. Next up, we have Kozuki Odin. And with his flashback and backstory and how powerful he was, to have him overtake Gold Roger and Whitebeard, his contemporaries, man, the story of Odin just really was a story of legends. But above him is Eustace Kid. And again, I'm not surprised so much. A lot of people pull for Kid. Let's be real. Whereas most people will say, oh, he hasn't gotten the attention that he deserves, I say on the contrary. Kid has gotten plenty of attention, and I feel like there's more to come in the future. People really pull to see more out of Kid. But above him is Bantham, Mr. Two, Bon Cray. And come on, the popularity that he has, I'm not even surprised. Bon Clay and the friendship that he had with Luffy is legendary. Like, man, Luffy has a lot of friends, but the way he connected with Bon Clay is not to be understated. It was a legendary friendship that can only be outdone with the friendship with Nefeltari Vivi, Miss Wednesday. And come on, it's Vivi. So I know a lot of people just don't get the hype on Vivi, but seriously, she had this just deep connection with the crew. The crew really bonded with her. They really loved her. They really cared for her. They were willing to do so much solely for Vivi, putting their lives on the line for her. And she was one of the first outside characters who just really traveled with them for a good while. From getting away from Whiskey Peak and heading over to Little Garden to Drum Kingdom and finally making it to Alabaster, we spent so much time with Vivi. It's hard not to have loved the character. And then we make it into the top 20. None of these people are surprises to me. None of them. Not well. I can't say that. Let me not say that. There's a couple that I'm just like, oh, really? Oh, good on ya. First, we have number 20, Don Quixote do Flamingo, who is one of the most popular antagonists. He always had this cool style about him, but the moment you had him straight up in the series doing stuff, he was a tornado of popularity. People loved him left and right. He was just such a cool antagonist. He had a lot going for him, and I'm not surprised to see him so high up. Next we have Marco, and I'm actually kind of surprised that he's so popular, but a lot of people really gel with Marco. There's just something about it. Be it his powers or his demeanor, people love them, some of that Phoenix. At number 18 is my man Jimbei, and I'm just like, yep, That's exactly where he should be. Man, Jinbei just kind of grew on you. Like a bit of like a uncle that you only ever get to see from time to time. And we were really pulling for him just joining the crew finally. Like, come on, Jinbei, just do it. And now he's officially a Straw Hat, and I couldn't be happier. And number 17, interestingly enough, is Crocodile, Mr. Zero. And man, the popularity of Crocodile is not to be understated. He was one of the biggest antagonists that Luffy had gone up against. And it really shows. At a time before hockey and everything else, you really had to plan around this guy. And to get around his machinations and the far reach of his organization, there was just something about Mr. Zero that despite the fact that he was cribbing Doflamingo style, he really was a man all his own. And come on, Tony Chopper at number 16, this kid sells merchandise. The face that could launch 1,000 plushies. I am not surprised by Chopper standing. Now, Usopp being ahead of him, that surprised me. I knew Usopp had a good amount of popularity, but to be above Chopper, the mascot, if nothing else, good on ya, Usopp. But he's the everyman. You put yourself very easily into Usopp's shoes. So I'm glad he's gotten quite a bit of popularity. But the breakout was Charlotte Katakuri. Man, an antagonist that just blew away the rest of the competition. And a lot of that comes from just how good of a guy deep down he really was. Unlike a lot of other antagonists, he wasn't a terrible person, he wasn't a murderer, he cared for his family, and he did what was necessary to protect them, despite the kind of people that they were. Not to mention him being this more intense version of Luffy, like, there's just something about Katakuri that really gelled with people, and I felt it too. I was really digging Katakuri when he debuted. The shock for me was unlucky number 13, Rosanante Don Quixote, Corazon. And it has to just come from a lot of the popularity of Law. Law's backstory was epically tragic, and the lengths that Rosanante went in order to protect Law put him in a lot of people's good books. But man, for his popularity to have endured so long, that really speaks volumes. Another person whose popularity speaks volumes is Shanks. But a lot of that also comes from the fact that he's just so mysterious. When he shows up, people listen, except for Whitebeard at least. But there's a lot of reverence and respect that comes with this character. And with all the questions that we still have floating around him, a lot of his popularity comes from the hype alone. But it's not like it's unwarranted. And at number 11 we have Yamato, who honestly, with all of his popularity, I thought Yamato would be in the top 10, but at number 11, at the cusp of breakout popularity, I'm just like, yes, you're right where you need to be, baby boy. You are a fantastic character. A real breakout, just like Katakuri. Just something about these Yonko children really gels with people. It's powerful, determined, cool. Just, these Yonko kids just outdo their parents at every turn, and it's far from unwarranted. But next we break into the top 10. And when I tell you I was both surprised and not surprised by any of this, I really mean it. Because let me be real. Sabo at number 10, of course. Sabo from his inception ended up being insanely popular. Ace at number 9. Ace has continued to be a constantly popular character, despite the fact that we haven't seen too much of Ace, but what we did see was fun. It was awesome, and honestly, I wish we got more of it. Good on the anime for adding him into Alabasta for a little bit longer because that was also fun. Just Ace is just such a fun character, and he's still sorely missed. And number 8, I voted for her. I'm part of the problem. I'm sorry, but it's not like I didn't vote for any of the other guys on this list. But I really am pulling for Carrot to be a Straw Hat. I feel like the lookout angle is really something that cannot be understated. Yes, I know a lot of people are more interested in Yamato, but Carrot, there's something about her that gels. And I think it's infinitely hilarious that in every region but Japan, she was in the top 10. Like everyone beyond Carrot was on perpetually on every list in every region of the world. And once you got to Carrot, it was every region except one. Every region except one. And look at how close the points are between Carrot and Hancock. Carrot had a good chance with a few more points of being higher than Hancock. And to say, oh, that's because the furries came out in droves, like, bruh, when I tell you that's a simplification of Carrot's popularity. You know, it's just unfortunate that it isn't. She doesn't get as much attention as it feels like she could. But there are a lot of people kind of pulling for Carrot. Furries of the world unite, I guess. But what's more greater than furries? Boobies! Specifically, Boa Hancock, who has been popular since her inception. Like, something about Boa Hancock, I think a couple of somethings really speak to people, but it's also her love of Luffy that really just propels her so far forward. And her at being lucky number 7, I'm all for it. Long live the Pirate Empress. But above her is number 6, Nico Robin, who I'm glad is still so popular. She hasn't had a lot of shining moments in recent years, let's be real. And honestly, the one real awesome fight that she has even had in this series just did, like, after she left Baroque Work, she took a lot of the back seat in a lot of combat situations, despite the fact that during Alabasta she was a whirlwind of violence. But she's still a very crucial member of the Straw Hat crew, especially when it comes to the Poneglyphs. Like, she is a crucial member of the crew, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Next up is the top 5 with Trafalgar Law, who, I don't know what it is. It's either his character design or his personality or maybe even his backstory, but man, Law is just so cool. He's just so cool. I remember when I first laid eyes on Law in the manga, and one of the first things he does is flip somebody the bird. And it's just like, wow, this guy radiates teenage angst energy, and I was all for it back in the day. And man, just Law is such a badass. And there's a reason why he gets featured so much nowadays. He's just too cool. He's just too cool. But from here on out, it's nothing but Straw Hats, baby. Coming in at number 4 is my man Sanji. Always a popular character, usually within the top 5. No doubt, no doubt. Some people say that he should have been number 3, but I'm kind of okay with his placement just because of the fact that it's 4, man. Dude, come on, that's still pretty damn popular. But he tends not to always have the greatest moments, especially nowadays. He has more losses to his belt than anything else. And I feel like if Whole Cake had actually had him be the one to go up against Katakuri, while Luffy go up against Big Mom, his popularity would have soared. But for the most part, number 4 is a great place for him. And at number 3, man, talk about a dark horse, is the lovely Nami-san. Oh man, her popularity, man, just I remember the first episode of One Piece I ever watched, and that moment where Luffy comes down on the boat where Nami is escaping and they just lock eyes. I knew from that moment that One Piece was something special. In the anime, she was there from the beginning, and she's just a fun character. Fun, clever, creative, just altogether good instincts. Nami is, of course, a favorite. But perpetually at number 2 is Roronoa. Oh man, I still think back to this day on his introduction to the anime. Seeing him tied up with this massive guitar riff playing, and just, I've never seen someone in a helpless state still come off like the person who could murder you then and then. It's just like both of his arms tied up, and it was still like, oh, don't go near that person. He's dangerous. He will kill you with a glance. Oh man, Zoro just emanates coolness. And honestly, I'm not surprised that still persists to this day. But, of course, there can only be one number 1, and that's our boy, Monkey D. Luffy. Except no substitutions. It's funny, too, because in a lot of lists, sometimes the main character ends up taking a back seat to one of the side characters or something, and if anything, I would think it would be Zoro at some point, but no, Luffy has perpetually stayed at number 1, and that's a testament to his character, his abilities, his dream, his personality, and the resonance that he has with other characters. None of these other characters would be the people they are today without Luffy coming in, helping them out, and inspiring them in one way or another. It really is a testament to the writing of One Piece. My Hero, Bleach, Naruto, there have been plenty of times where the main character has been overshadowed, but never in One Piece. Never. Yeah, he might not have always been number 1 in every region, but he's always number 1 in our hearts. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below if you made it through this behemoth of a video, as I just kind of tried to justify, look, this list, you might not gel with it, you might not be okay with it, but deep down to me, it makes plenty of sense. There are massive fans for each of these characters all over the world, and they came out in droves to back their favorite. So tell me, who did you vote for, and who are you the most surprised on this list? Plenty of people have already said Carrot, so why not? If you were surprised by Carrot, there you go. You're not alone, but I'm glad my girl made it so high, and I'm still pulling for her to be a member of the Straw Hat Crew. But until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.